Oke guys, thank you sudah nonton video gue. Ketemu lagi sama gue, Wilson, di Ani Film. Oke guys, bagi lu yang belum subscribe atau baru pertama nonton video ini, lu boleh subscribe dan tekan tombol lonceng sehingga kalau gue ada video-video baru, lu bisa langsung dapat pemberitahuannya seketika itu juga. Oke guys, thank you banget sekali lagi udah nonton video gue. Sekarang gue mau nonton video apa ini? Death Note. Oke guys, kemarin gue nonton minggu lalu, lebih tepatnya gue nonton video Death Note episode 2 yang menurut gue cukup keren. Gue memperlihatkan bahwa waduh, ini penantang Kira ini udah ada nih, jadi nggak sembarangan lagi, udah ada lawannya lah. Sekarang gue boleh menyebut namanya Kira dan L. Oke, L ini cukup keren. Gue rasa dia cukup pinter juga. Jadi ini kayaknya adalah pertarungan kepintaran, pertarungan antara dua pemikiran tentang apa itu arti justice atau keadilan. Death Note episode 3, kita mulai dari 3, 2, 1, mulai.
Desires. Kira, I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
Ini scene yang keren kalau menurut gue. Dealings.
All right, let's start with the tip line reports.
Yes, sir. Up to this point, we've received 3,029 responses about the murders via telephone and email. Most of these have been curious citizens and prank calls, but there are 14 people who claim to either know Kira or who have seen him. All 14 accounts were followed up on and carefully documented. However, nobody could provide any information that wasn't already publicly available. And lastly, this week there were an additional 21 people who called in claiming to be Kira. We didn't want to rule anything out, so we followed standard procedure and created files for all 21 of them.
All right, on to the victim reports.
Yes, sir. Upon further investigation, we have confirmed that information of the heart attack victims was in fact publicly available in Japan immediately prior to their deaths. Also, concerning L's request that we investigate the time of death for each victim, we found that all of them occurred between the hours of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m. on weekdays, local time, with 68% of them occurring between 8 p.m. and 12 a.m. Weekends and holidays appear to be the exception to this rule, as the times of death vary much more widely than during the week.
That information is extremely relevant for us. It suggests that given the times of death, our suspect could very well be a student.
Oh, bisa tahu dia.
Based on the fact that Kira's only killing criminals, I think it's safe to assume that he's driven by a very idealistic notion of justice. It's highly possible he may even aspire to be some sort of godlike figure. We're dealing with an individual who has a very childish concept of right and wrong. Of course, this is mere speculation at this point, but still I recommend you re-examine any assumptions you've made as to whether or not our suspect could be a student. We must consider every possibility. I believe that is the shortest route to finding and arresting Kira. Please continue with your report.
Oh, right. Does anyone else have something they'd like to add?
Yes, sir.
What is it, Matsuda?
Well, I'm not saying this to support Kira or to condone the murders, but in the last few days throughout the world, but especially here in Japan, we've observed a dramatic decrease in the number of violent crimes committed.
Jadi ada sisi
Well,
positifnya.
I suppose it makes sense. We've suspected something like that would happen. Anything else?
No.
Well, that about sums up our report for today. L?
Thank you, everyone. I feel we're one step closer to finding Kira. Before I go, I'm afraid I have one additional request to make. This is directed to the teams investigating the victims, TV news, and internet. I would like you to go back and take a closer look at the exact way in which the victims' identities were made public. Be as thorough as possible.
In particular, I want to know if photos of the victims were made available to the public in Japan.
I'll leave it to you.
Memang faktanya kejahatan
I knew I could
berkurang
count on you, Light.
selama
So, do you
Kira
think you're ready to try a
beroperasi.
few on your own now?
Itu fakta yang nggak bisa terbantahkan. Dan sudah ada jelas ada datanya.
Sounds like Dad's home.
Jadi based on data
Welcome
gitu.
home, dear.
Dia pinter juga tau.
He's home really early today.
Hey! Why don't you at least try the last problem by yourself?
I will, but maybe after dinner.
Kayaknya yang pinter cuma kakaknya doang.
Sister with her homework, you sure are relaxed.
Of course. If the police try to come after me, I'm pretty confident I've got something that'll give me the advantage. Hey, glad you could join us for dinner. You hungry, Dad?
Yeah.
What?
It's been a long day.
Bokapnya orang yang memimpin penyelidikan Kira.
So,
Anjrit.
Light, tell me, how are your studies going?
Everything's okay, I guess.
Whatever. He's at the top of his class.
Oh.
My big brother's a genius.
Anjrit,
My
anjrit.
son, we're all proud of you, Light.
Is everything okay, Dad? You look tired.
Yeah, I'm not able to say too much about it.
Jadi kalau buat lo yang nggak tahu ada yang namanya poker face,
I see.
wajah nggak bersalah gitu sehingga kita nggak bisa baca. Nah ini nih dia bisa depan keluarganya pakai poker face gitu,
Must be the reason why you're
depan
so
bapaknya yang
confident.
pemimpin polisi, sorry pemimpin
It's easy for
pemimpin
me to
penyelidikan
hack into
Kira,
Dad's computer. We're on
dia
one network, so
masang
I can
wajah poker face gitu.
finding a trace. This way I can keep track of their investigation. Here we go.
Mantes dia tahu banyak tentang kejahatan, tentang orang-orang yang dicari. Anjrit.
Well, isn't that interesting? Looks like the police are already beginning to suspect a student.
I guess that means you're in trouble.
Ya, masuk akal. Jadi pergerakannya jadi
If the cause of death is written within 40 seconds of writing the person's name, it will happen. If the cause of death is not specified, the person will simply die of a heart attack. After writing the cause of death, details of the death should be written in the next 6 minutes and 40 seconds. That sound right to you, Reviuw?
So what's your point?
In other words, if I write heart attack as the cause of death, then I should be able to write down all the details, including time of death afterwards, shouldn't I? Looks like I'll be able to provide you with more entertainment now.
dia punya rencana apa lagi nih?
What? I don't believe this. Another 23 victims yesterday? Are these confirmed?
Yes.
The day before, there were another 23 victims. He's killing one off every hour on the hour.
Considering that this new pattern has been going on for 2 weekdays,
It does punch some holes in the theory that our suspect is a student.
Maybe not. Anybody can skip 2 days of school.
You're missing the point. It does appear less likely now that Kira's a student. But that's not the message he's sending by doing this. Ask yourselves, why every hour? And why are all these victims in prisons where they are sure to be discovered immediately? Why not other criminals like before? I believe Kira is telling us that not only can he kill from a distance, but he can also determine the time of death.
Oh, masuk akal. Jadi
But something's not right. As soon as we began to suspect that Kira might be a student, the pacing of the killings changed, as if to contradict that theory. Coincidence?
enggak, kayaknya nggak mungkin
Too
ada.
convenient. This can only mean that Kira has access to police information. It's obvious now. This is a direct challenge to me.
I'd say El is probably starting to sweat a little by now. What'll really make his job difficult is that I've deliberately left about 50 criminals alive for times like this.
Oh?
If El's as good as they say, by now he should be starting to suspect someone with connections to the police.
Berarti dia
So Kira has found a way to obtain information from the task force headquarters.
pada
This is one
dasarnya
fact that cannot be ignored.
kayak memperkecil. Jadi kayak nggak ada untungnya kalau menurut gua.
What is he hoping to achieve in the end?
Jadi dia kayak memperlihatkan bahwa gua ada di antara orang-orang yang deket sama polisi nih.
Showing them you have connections to the police face makes it easier
Oh,
for
aneh
them
ya?
to find you than when they just suspected you were a student.
Well, my real agenda is to get close to L so I can eliminate him.
How are you gonna do that?
You still don't understand human beings. In this world, there are very few people who actually trust each other.
Masuk akal.
And it's no different for the police, you know. What's especially important is that Elle and the investigators don't trust each other at all. Think about it. Could you trust someone whose name and face you don't even know? When Elle discovers that I'm somehow getting confidential information, he'll be obligated to start investigating the police to find the source of the leak. When that happens, it'll only be a matter of time before the police start resenting Elle. On the surface, it will appear that Elle and the investigation team are working together to try to catch me. But in reality, Elle will investigate the police, and they will be investigating Elle. I'm not the one who's going to find Elle. I can let the police do that for me.
Jadi dia mau menciptakan perpecahan antara polisi dengan L dengan cara menciptakan ketidakpercayaan antara polisi dan L. It's good point, keren dia, tapi menurut gue cukup membahayakan sekali gitu. Dia seperti memperkecil siapa yang
With all due respect, Chief, we're resigning.
Siapa yang dicurigai gitu.
We demand that you assign us to a different case. Otherwise, you can have our badges right here and now.
Ini udah mulai ada perpecahan.
In order to solve this problem, we must establish the concept that x squared equals large x. Now pay attention because this is important. Before we tackle more complex quadratic equations, we have to start thinking of large x's value as simply the multiple of two integers. Now, let's apply this concept to our first problem.
We brought the FBI to Japan 4 days ago. They're fully operational. As requested, they're now gathering intel on the police.
And this is the complete list?
Yes.
There are 141 people in the police force who have access to classified information regarding the investigation. I am sure that somewhere in this list of police officers and the people closest to them, we will find our suspect.
Jadi udah mulai bergerak, udah mulai bergerak untuk menyelidiki semua orang yang mungkin mendapatkan akses ke data-data kepolisian.
First of all, I don't have anything against you. I actually think the notebook couldn't have been picked up by a better person.
Keren juga.
I'm here because I have to stick around till the death note is finished, or I see you die, whichever comes first. But make no mistake, Light, I'm not on your side or Elle's side.
Yeah, well, I knew that much already.
You'll never hear me say anything about whether what you're doing is right or wrong. I'm not here to support you or give you my opinion. I'm just a spectator. But as your roommate, I might have a few things to say now and then.
What's this about, Reviuw? Why are you telling me all this stuff now anyway? It's really not like you.
It's just that I'm no ally of yours, or Kira's if you prefer. The only reason I'm gonna tell you this is because personally it's starting to creep me out.
Get to the point already.
You're being followed by another human. He's watching you right now.
Dikasih tahu. Oh, yang tadi lihat ada bayangan ya. Orang-orang FBI ya.
It's really starting to get on my nerves. I realize there's no way he can see me. But because I'm always following behind you wherever you go, I feel like I'm constantly being watched.
That's a problem. I'll have to get rid of him as soon as possible. Who would be following me? Does this mean Elle is already starting to suspect the police? If he's gonna investigate the police, he'll need a lot of resources and manpower. Even if he has as many as 50 people on the case, I don't see how they could ever figure out that I'm Kira. I shouldn't look like anything other than your average high school senior. But the longer I let this person keep following me, the greater the chances they'll figure out who I really am. Above all, I need my stalker's name. Once I figure that out, I can get rid of him for good.
Light. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. What makes a Shinigami and a human who has a death note different? Well, there are two things. And why do Shinigami have to write the names of humans in their death notes? You got any ideas?
Of course not. Why would I know that? You know, you sure are talkative today.
It's because we are able to take human lifespans for ourselves.
Huh? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Let's say you have a human who is due to live until the age of 60, and a god of death wrote that this person would die at 40. 60 minus 40 equals 20. Now those 20 years taken from someone in the human world are added to that god of death's life.
Jadi umur
So it means
dewa
that as
kematian
long as we
bertambah
don't slack
terus
off, even if
selama dia
someone was to
terus
shoot us in the
menulis
head
Death Note ya.
or stab us in the heart with a knife, a god of death cannot die. On the other hand, no matter how many names you write in your death note, your lifespan will not increase. That is the first difference between gods of death and humans who possess a death note.
Jadi umurnya tetap
That's something about Shinigami that I haven't heard before. Pretty interesting stuff.
The second difference between us will probably be of even greater interest to you. Though this has less to do with lengthening life and more to do with cutting it short.
What do you mean cutting it short?
Shinigami can tell what a person's name is by just looking at their face. We know instantly. And do you have any idea why? Because through a Shinigami's eyes, a human's name can be seen above their head. Not only that, we see their lifespan as well.
Their name and lifespan?
kayak kacamata Goku ya. Sorry kayak kacamata di Dragon Ball yang dipakai Vegeta gitu buat lihat daya tempur. Ini buat ngelihat jumlah hidupnya.
I may have a big mouth, but even I wouldn't go that far. Shinigami never have to worry that they won't be able to kill a person just because they don't know their name. And every time we do take a life, we always know exactly how many years we're going to receive. Our eyes just aren't the same, and that is the difference between you and I. However, if a Shinigami drops his death note and a human picks it up, he can grant that human the eyes of a Shinigami. But only if a deal is made, one that's been with us since ancient times.
Jadi dia bisa
The price for having a
dapat
Shinigami's
mata
eyes
Shinigami. Harganya apa? Coba kita lihat.
is half of that person's remaining lifespan. That's all it is.
Setengah dari hidupnya. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
In other words, if you were supposed to live another 50 years, it'll be 25. If it was one more year, then 6 months.
I see. And since you've made it clear you're not on anyone's side, and won't help me out, you wouldn't just give me the names of people I wanted to kill. Basically, you're saying that I can't simply borrow your powers. I'd have to pay for them.
That's right. It's a key part of the code that all Shinigami are bound by. I'll say this once more. Give me half your remaining lifespan, and I'll give you the Shinigami eyes.
If I agree, I'll be able to know everyone's name just by looking at them. If I had that power, the Death Note would only be easier to use.
So, what'll it be, Light? Is it a deal?
Oh, Oke, astagfirullahaladzim.
Everything has turned out exactly as I wrote it in the Death Note, to the last detail. 11:45 on the dot. Everything's going just as I planned. The Death Note never fails.
Oke, stop. Oke, kita mulai reviewnya. Oke. Kita mau hilangin ini. Oke, ini episode yang cukup menarik kalau menurut saya. Pertama, dia memperlihatkan kepintaran dari L. Dia sudah bisa menebak dari menurut dia dari waktunya. Dia cuma menulis dari waktu sekian ke waktu sekian. Oh ini pasti student. Terus gue pikir-pikir, ya keren juga gitu dia bisa tahu ini student, ini pelajar. Dia cuma punya waktu sekian dari sekian untuk menuliskannya. Oke. Kedua, di counter attack dengan Yagami dengan dia menuliskan dengan menggunakan, jadi waktunya ternyata bisa ditentukan, nggak usah harus 40 detik, waktu bisa ditentukan, jarak mati bisa ditentukan, dan dia menunjukkan bahwa oh dia bisa membunuh semua orang dari waktu yang ditentukan, nggak usah waktu ini. Dan dia juga mau ngasih tau El bahwa gue ini ada di antara kepolisian, minimal gue adalah keluarga dari anggota polisi atau orang-orang yang dekat dengan anggota polisi yang punya akses ke data L. Jadi menurut gue agak aneh, tapi cukup efektif. Gue gini, dia memperlihatkan bahwa dia memperkecil tersangka sehingga L semakin dekat kepada Kira, tapi di lain pihak dia memicu atau menumbuhkan benih perpecahan antara L dan kepolisian. Dan kita lihat tadi sudah mulai mencuat benih perpecahan itu, di mana ada beberapa orang yang dari anggota kepolisian itu yang pecah. Itu cukup psikologi yang cukup keren. Jadi menurut gue dengan memberikan satu keuntungan untuk L untuk mengetahui oke, gue ada di antara tapi dia mendapatkan sesuatu di mana perpecahan antara anggota polisi dengan L. Dia seperti pukulan oke, dia kena pukul dari sekolah, jadi bisa menjadi dan bukan hanya kepintaran, bukan hanya IQ, tapi IQ juga IQ ya, jadi gue bukan hanya kepintaran pribadi, tapi kepintaran dia terhadap sosial dia gunakan. Dan kayaknya El sudah menyadari hal ini. Terus El mengirim anggota FBI itu berarti menandakan bahwa El ternyata punya kontak luas bahkan seluruh dunia. FBI total FBI sebuah agen badan agen dari Amerika, jadi dia punya kontak juga terhadap orang-orang dari luar Jepang. Dan kita memang tahu dia disebut sebagai the greatest detective, ya kan? Kalau saya orang yang, kalau gue sebut dia the greatest detective, dia orang yang di dunia film Death Note ini dia adalah detektif terbaik. Jadi wajarlah kalau dia punya banyak kenalan di dunia kejahatan ataupun dunia pembasmian kriminalisasi. Yang cukup menarik sebenarnya di bagian akhir, sebelum itu sudah mulai light diikuti, gue nggak nyebutnya dengan sebutan Kira light karena yang diikuti adalah pribadi light ini, walaupun dia belum dicurigai sebagai Kira, cuma sebagai salah satu orang yang mungkin adalah Kira. Dan penjelasan dari Reviuw itu cukup memberikan shock ya, berarti dia bisa mendapatkan mata dari Shinigami. Menurutku mata Shinigami itu mirip kayak kacamata atau alat melihatnya Vegeta yang waktu pertama Vegeta bertemu, jadi untuk melihat dia tempur. Keren juga dia, mata ini cukup keren, maksudnya dia memberikan satu keuntungan bagi pemegang Death Note, tapi juga memberikan satu disadvantage atau penalti harga yang harus dia bayar untuk memiliki mata itu setengahnya. Oke, menurut gue kalau dia punya kemampuan ini kelihatannya ceritanya jadi nggak asik lagi mestinya, jadi terlalu gampang. Tapi gue juga bingung, kalau menurut gue sih terlalu mahal harga untuk setengah nyawa. Kalau menurut gue harga untuk setengah nyawa itu terlalu mahal. Mungkin kalau lebih kecil dari itu, tapi masa gue mikir bisa ngasih, tapi terlalu mahal untuk kemampuan mata itu. Menurut gue apakah Kira atau Light mengambil kesempatan ini tergantung, tapi kelihatannya kayaknya enggak, karena gue tadi lihat di after credit kayak pada saat di episode depan nanti dia akan mengeluarkan rencana untuk, gue nggak tahu untuk apa, tapi kalau mestinya seandainya dia udah punya mata itu, dia mesti tadi udah langsung dulu dong, dia nggak usah buat rencana-rencana lain. Itu yang gue lihat ya dia punya. Oke, kelihatannya dia nggak ngantuk. Mungkin di masa depan, tapi kayaknya bukan sekarang. Oke, sampai di situ dia review juga. Minggu depan lo nonton lagi di episode yang keempat. Oke, sekali lagi thank you banget udah nonton video gue. Dan kalau lo belum subscribe atau ini pertama kali lo nonton video gue, lo boleh subscribe dan tekan tombol lonceng sehingga kalau ada video-video baru dari gue, ada pemberitahuan dari gue, lo langsung dapat. Thank you banget, ketemu lagi di Ani Film. Thanks.